You're watching NBA Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Senior. Coming up, an NBA mailbag where I take all of your NBA news and rumors questions. Let's kick it off with this question coming in from Tony N., $5 super chat. Can any of these players make it on the Blazers roster for the 2021-2022 season? Emmanuel Mudiay, Michael Beasley, or Kenneth Faried? Yeah, I mean, all of those guys are partaking in NBA Summer League. I'm not sure what it says about the Blazers organization that they're giving all of these guys shots. If there's anybody I do want to give a shot to, it's probably Emmanuel Mudiay, who I really liked a couple years ago coming into the NBA draft. Michael Beasley, Kenneth Faried, I think they're in the rear view right now as part of their NBA careers. Beasley has always been a walking bucket. Faried, a very good rebounder. But if one of those three players were to make it onto the Blazers regular season roster, I'd probably go with Emmanuel Mudiay. Thank you for that $5 super chat and this $5 super chat from Greg Hollingshead. Who is the best free agent left that the Warriors have an actual chance to land? Paul Millsap? I'd probably go Paul Millsap. That's a guy who the Warriors have been interested in, according to some reports. Could Boogie Cousins go back to the Warriors and give them some front court depth? I'm looking at bottom of the barrel players at this point in free agency. Could you go after a guy like Langston Galloway if you want a creator come in and off the bench aside from Jordan Poole? Some names for you there, Greg. Jeremy Suggs. All right, I wonder who made this one. Should the Warriors sign JJ Redick on a flyer? I'd like it. I mean, JJ Redick isn't really that good of a defensive player. He's a really good three-point, specialist at this point of his career, but he's never really been that good of a defensive player. Last year, his season cut short by a variety of heel issues, leg issues, but 2 years ago, I know on your screen right now you're looking at his numbers from last year. 2 years ago, he was averaging 15 points per game, shooting around 40% from the arc. So if JJ Redick can get back to some semblance of that, I think he joins forces with a title contender, and I think JJ Redick as a floor spacer, as a guy who can give you a couple threes per game, could end up being a very valuable player. For all my NBA fans, if you haven't subscribed to Chat Sports, you're just making a wrong decision. Why should I can't say it, Sam. I have the yips. I have the yips on our live show. This is why you should subscribe to Chat Sports, because we're bringing you the latest NBA news and rumors, free agency updates. We're covering the NBA Summer League. We give you in-season coverage as well. We have a bunch of side team-specific NBA channels, and we have 263,000 plus subscribers. So be a part of the family. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV, or hit that red subscribe button down below. I'm trying to get rid of the yips here with those subscriber reads. Hopefully I do that. Your average casual fan with this question, you're the best, Chase. You're the best. Thank you. What do you think about Alperen Sengun? Sengun's been awesome. And for future reference, his last name is pronounced Sengun, but it is spelled Sengun. I think Alperen Sengun throughout the Summer League so far has been fantastic. This is my scouting profile on him. Turkish League MVP as a teenager. He's got a great feel for the game. I love his touch around the rim. He always seems under control and confident. He's an old school big who's got a litany of moves in the post, and I think because of that, Alperen Sengun is going to be able to be a great scorer at the center spot. Here's a crazy thing too. Guy's only 19 years old. So he's going to have a long career because as a center, gives you a lot in the scoring department. Salvacan, Raptors will be better than the Pistons or Rockets. Hashtag Scottie Barnes, Rookie of the Year. I like what Scottie Barnes did in his Summer League debut. We're recording this during our live show on Wednesday. So the Raptors are set to play, I think, on Wednesday again. So I've only been able to see one game so far from Scottie Barnes. 18 points. I think he had 9 or 10 rebounds. He let loose a three-pointer. It was 10 rebounds, so a nice little double-dub for Scottie Barnes. There's no question that Barnes is a developmental project. When I scouted him leading into the NBA draft, I basically came up with this. He's good at everything except scoring and shooting. If he improves in those two latter areas, Barnes could end up being a stud at number 4 for Toronto. Speaking of Scottie Barnes, do you think he's going to win Rookie of the Year, or do you think another player is going to win Rookie of the Year? Who will win Rookie of the Year this season? Give me some names in the comment section. I'm the man. Can the Raptors get Lauri Markkanen for Goran Dragic? Oh boy, no, because the Bulls don't want, nor do they need, Goran Dragic. Now, if there's a third team that is included in that deal, maybe the Bulls trade away Lauri Markkanen to the Raptors. They get some type of asset back, and the Raptors, with a player who's unhappy about being there in Dragic, they end up sending him elsewhere. Maybe it's some part of a 3-team deal. You was revenge with this question. Instead of Dame, why don't the Sixers target CJ McCollum? They'd get better while also not gutting their depth like they'd have to do in a trade for Dame. If that's the secondary option for Daryl Morey and the Sixers, I don't hate it, because CJ McCollum gives you something that the Sixers don't currently have. That's a shooting guard who can create, score from all 3 levels, and can be depended upon to get buckets late in games and not be a liability like Ben Simmons was. And a future backcourt of Tyrese Maxey at point guard, I think he should start at point guard for Philly next season. I would not include him in a Ben Simmons trade. You might have to do that to bring in Damian Lillard, which goes back to your point. But I think a future backcourt of Tyrese Maxey and CJ McCollum would be interesting with Joel Embiid down low. Gives you a lot of floor spacers, gives you creators, ball handlers, and can kind of open up space down low for Embiid to operate a little bit. Coco plays Roblox. Nice name there. And a good picture. Video games. He's a big gamer on the sticks. Do you think that Ben Simmons is going to the Warriors? There have been reports for weeks about some interest between Ben Simmons because, according to reports, he has said that he's willing to go to Golden State, as well as the Warriors' interest in Ben Simmons. Now, Zach Lowe and Stephen A. Smith both did say that the Warriors are divided about Simmons' fit on that roster. What does that mean? That means that some people within the organization want Ben Simmons, others don't want him. And they think that that fit could be somewhat clunky. I think the fit could work well with Simmons playing a small ball 5. He could play the 4 for you. Draymond Green could even play the 3, 4, or 5 at times. You have James Wiseman to play center as well, Kevon Looney. I kind of like Ben Simmons' fit on the Warriors because as a passer from the lower high post, if he is playing in a front court spot, he'll be able to find Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and those guys will be able to make it rain. If I'm Philly, I just don't want to gut the farm trading away Ben Simmons. We've been talking a lot on Chat Sports about Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green because both of them, respectively, are off to nice starts in the NBA Summer League. But here's my question for you. Who is the best? And if you had to pick one, who would you go with? Type C for Cade Cunningham, type G for Jalen Green. I had Cade Cunningham number 1 on my big board of the top 100 prospects going into the draft. I still think that Cade Cunningham is the better player. I didn't think there was a large distance between the two like some others thought. Cade Cunningham was my 1, Jalen Green was my 1A. What do you think, though? Sound off in the comments. Nye Lee, any predictions about the Bulls? The Bulls could end up surprising me and being a 3 seed in the East. They could falter, they could fail, and they could struggle and maybe fall to a 6 spot, 7 spot, 8 spot in the Eastern Conference. I think the Bulls have all of the talent to be really good. Offensively, it's going to be very exciting. Defensively, I'm a little bit worried about the Bulls on that end of the floor. Patrick Williams and Lonzo Ball can defend. Zach LaVine defended a lot better in the Olympics, but DeRozan, not the greatest defender. So we'll see what they do defensively under Billy Donovan. Corn Dog 2, Frank Ntilikina to the Dallas Mavericks. Frankie Smokes is a liability because he can't do jack from the offensive end of the floor. I mean, he can't jack, and when he does jack it up, he bricks it. This guy is an anemic offensive player, and he doesn't give you much on that end of the floor. Defensively, he is one of the better defending guards across the NBA. But when do you have a use for a guy like this? You don't want to play him late in games because teams are going to foul him. I mean, he shot 36.5% from the field last year, only averaged 2.5 points per game. His minutes went down because he didn't give the Knicks a lick offensively. So I think Ntilikina is going to be on the market for a long time. I understand he was a high draft pick back a few years ago, just has not reached those lofty expectations because his offensive game never got better and it never evolved. Here at Chat Sports, we pride ourselves on being alpha dogs. So are you a lion or are you a sheep? Type L for lion, type S for sheep, and if you're a lion, subscribe to Chat Sports. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV or hit that red subscribe button down below. This is your hub for all of your NBA news and rumors and all of your NBA coverage because we cover the association league round. NBA free agency, we went live for 5 days straight. NBA draft night, we were live for 8 straight hours. Anytime a trade happens, we hit you with the breaking news. We have team-specific channels here at Chat Sports. But subscribe to our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV, or hit that red subscribe button down below. Colio Tube. What do you think of Kemba Walker's official signing to the Knicks? I like it. Kemba Walker is from the Bronx. Obviously, because of that, has a lot of ties to New York City. If Kemba Walker can be the player that he was a couple years ago, early on in his stint with the Boston Celtics, or maybe he's able to turn back the clock to the player that he was in glimpses with the Charlotte Hornets, MSG is going to be popping. To get Kemba Walker, who did have a base salary of $30+ million before he restructured and was bought out by OKC, to get him at an average annual value of around $10 million per year, that's a steal. I know that he didn't look right in terms of his health and his knee last year. He still averaged 19 points per game. So this offseason, I hope the emphasis for him is trying to find some remedy for that ongoing knee injury, which has lasted over the last year and a half. And if that's the case, Knicks could really use him offensively, and New York will rally around one of their own. Henry Rico, do you think the Nets are just going to keep getting injured and not win? No, because James Harden has been a consistently available player throughout his career. I know that Kyrie Irving is somewhat flaky and injury prone, so you do worry about his injuries as well as Kevin Durant's, but I'm hoping that the Nets are able to stay healthy because when that trio is on the floor together, it's one of the best big threes that we have seen and that we'll ever see. The crazy thing is they only played 8 regular season games together last year. Theo B, will Mac McClung win the NBA Slam Dunk Contest? I don't know about that. He certainly has the hops to compete in the Slam Dunk Contest. I was watching him play with the Lakers in the Summer League over the weekend, and I was like, you know what? I'm not just saying this because they're both white dudes who are really athletic, but can Mac McClung become down the road Alex Caruso? I compare these two guys because they're athletic, they can shoot at least a little bit, they have some type of creation ability. Alex Caruso was undrafted out of Texas A&M, Mac McClung undrafted out of Texas Tech, and Mac McClung coming out of high school before he committed to Georgetown and then went to Texas Tech under Chris Beard was a YouTube superstar. This guy was looked at as a future NBA draft prospect, and he had a really good college career. He just kind of flatlined a bit. Give me a follow on Twitter, @Chase_senior. Slide in my DMs too. If you have a trade idea, let me know. You got a question about the NBA? Hit me up, @Chase_senior. Give me a follow on Twitter. Love interacting with our massive audience here at Chat Sports, which really spans the globe as well as every pocket and corner and coast on the United States. Alizé Pin, should the Warriors go grab Love to come off the bench? Yeah, if Kevin Love and the Cleveland Cavaliers agree to a buyout, I really like Love going to some type of championship contender. Could that be the Los Angeles Lakers? Potentially. Could it be the Golden State Warriors? Maybe. The Warriors have long been infatuated with Kevin Love, and I do still think that Love, while he's not the player that he was a few years ago, still has value as a guy who's won an NBA title, arguably is going to go into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame because he put up massive numbers for a long time, and in terms of modern day value, he's a big man who can stretch the floor and play the 4 or 5. Dating your mom. Is he dating your mom? The jury's out. Do you think the Bulls overpaid for Lonzo Ball? Yeah, in free agency, there's that saying out there, free agents hit the market because their previous teams don't want them. Obviously, the Bulls had to overpay a bit for Lonzo Ball to outbid the New Orleans Pelicans because Lonzo Ball was a restricted free agent and the Pelicans had an opportunity to match any contract offer out there. That's why it was a sign and trade also, because Ball was a restricted free agent. I don't think at $85 million it's an overpay because Ball is still like 23 years old. If you look at his numbers have gotten better from a shooting standpoint every single year. Last year with the Pelicans, he was playing a lot off ball, whereas I think his natural position is at the straight up one, playing point guard. And when you look at the pieces around him, Lonzo Ball is going to be able to flourish as a straight up point guard because his vision is very special at 6'6", 190 pounds. He's going to be able to find DeMar DeRozan. He's going to be able to find Zach LaVine. Patrick Williams, very good player, is having a good summer league in year 2. Nikola Vucevic, another very solid option down low that gives Ball so many options to give the rock up to. So I think that assist number of 5.7, Lonzo Ball could end up being a double-double guy this upcoming season. Sport VO, Dame Dollar to the Knicks. It's still possible. And if you're asking yourself, why is it still possible? Because the Knicks still have a bunch of draft assets. By moving back in the NBA draft this year, they've been able to compile more draft capital. They also, with all of the trades that they've made in prior seasons, have a bunch of future first-round picks that they can give up. So they have the draft assets to give up for Dame if the Blazers want to rebuild. From a player acquisition standpoint, if the Blazers do want to restart the engine, hey, how about restarting with R.J. Barrett? Maybe even Obi Toppin. Can you throw Mitchell Robinson in there? Can Kevin Knox live up to expectations? Dame Dollar to the Knicks, it could certainly happen. $5 super chat, my man, iZone 1981. Any chance the Blazers can get Lauri Markkanen via trade or free agency signing? Thank you. I don't think so, unfortunately, for you, if you're a Blazers fan, and unfortunately for Damian Lillard. Dame wanted the organization to do a lot to surround him with weapons so that they could make a deep playoff run. It didn't happen. Tony Snell, Ben McLemore, Tyler Zeller, Norman Powell. Those are the free agency moves that the Blazers have made. They don't really have a lot of money for Lauri Markkanen, although I think that is unfortunate because I think he would be a good fit. Bilal, do you think the Mavericks should and can get Markkanen and Dragic? It's going to be really hard to swing that. I will say this, though, Bilal, and hopefully I said that right. If the Mavericks can somehow bring in Markkanen and Dragic, I think it makes them much better. What would that have to signal? You don't have Markkanen and Kristaps Porzingis on the same roster. You just don't, because it doesn't make any sense. So you'd have to give up KP in that trade. And who would you rather have, Markkanen or KP? That's a tough debate. I'd love Dragic on the Mavericks, though.